Welcome to another edition of Massive Homebase, Massive She Shed, whatever you want to call it. You're doing dad work. You drink dad beers. Yeah, a little update on that little sucker back there, even though you guys are probably looking at chickens right now. Man, I am kicking my ass. I am kicking my own ass. I have never, every time I do this, I'm not gonna lie to you, I'm super impressed with myself because I'm doing this all by myself. I didn't think I'd be able to do this by myself. And there's certain parts where I'm probably gonna need some help, maybe drywall, just because it's just makes things that much easier. Besides, Keith, 93 Lumber Keith, my brother-in-law coming over to help with the shed pad. Pretty much everything has been me flying solo, and I've been banging at it pretty hard. Last time I spoke to y'all, I dug a trench and I ran some cabling, and I think that was the bulk of it. I'm gonna see where we're at in a minute, but I've learned so much stuff that along the way that I never thought about, that I never thought really was anything that you needed to worry about when it comes to kind of like a shed or anything like that. So let's run through where we're at right now, see what's what. I'll bring the beer with me. First things first, trench is, that sucker's filled. Had a good friend, well, I shouldn't say good friend, a friend up the street, met not too long ago. He actually has a Instagram, Potbelly Acres. Just kind of like him and his wife moved out here from eastern New Jersey and started like a hobby farm, and he has a nice tractor, so he came over and just kind of helped me backfill this in. I still need to level it out a little bit and then get some good fill, topsoil, throw some grass seed down and all that kind of stuff. As far as the shed goes, one thing that I didn't realize, because I'm insulating the shed and I am conditioning the shed, is that when you do that and you don't have an attic space, well, even if you do have an attic space, you need to have some kind of ventilation for moisture, so you don't get rot and stuff like that. I understood it a little bit, but once I dug deep, I realized I messed up. Not huge, but I should have got a ridge vent up there. There's a tiny makeshift ridge vent that I think will be fine for now. But you need more than that. So I'm kind of I'm shooting from the hip here, and I'm putting in kind of self-done soffits. I don't know if you guys can see those. There's these kind of little vents. I'm going to clean up the metal. Just trying to do it the best I can right now. And what those will do is that allows air to be in kind of intake for air that'll run along the roof line and then out through the ceiling. That kind of carries moisture and keeps the shed cooler on top of the insulation, but also kind of just keeps moisture down and keeps things from kind of rotting. Actually, I don't want to take my beer in here because I'm in the middle of insulating and there's little bits of fiberglass floating around in the air. I'm wearing a mask and all that kind of stuff when I'm in here working, but I haven't worked really for a few hours. I'm only in here to do a video, so I'm not worried. So, as you can see, we started doing the insulating. Actually, okay, see, that's the baffles that I put up. Basically, these are baffles that keep the insulation from compressing. Those vents are on the other side of that, so it'll carry up and out. I gotta fill that with insulation. So that was one of the things I kind of learned I didn't know that I had to kind of do. So I ended up having to put up baffles and then just started doing the insulation. As you can see, we're probably 3/4 of the way done here. Pretty much all full panels are done. Some of the odd shaped ones are left, but I stopped at a really, really good time, because I started to study drywall. My father taught me how to drywall. I was like, I don't need to know anything about drywall. And then I was like, well, let me just look up some refreshers and stuff like that. And one thing I just didn't dawn on me, this shed didn't have studs in the corners. You have to have studs in the corners to attach your sheetrock, because if you don't have that, and then anything touches it, it'll pull the tape and it'll bubble, look like ass. So I was kind of in a little bit of a conundrum, because as you can see, I have cabling. I have Romex right down there. I have all this HDMI cord going through the corners. I couldn't just put 2x4s in, because that means I'd have to pull all that cable, and I didn't want to do that. So what I did was I built what's called nailers. These are 2x3s to allow a little bit of kind of go behind on this, so things could actually get behind it. And basically what I did was I created beams in the corner so I could attach drywall. So that's kind of where that was my latest project. And then after that, I have to finish the insulation up there in that area, in the odds and ends. The odds and ends are easy. These are 2x4, not 2x6s. So, I just got to cut what I need to fit in odd spaces like there and stuff like that, be done with it. Up there, I don't even know what you call that, the arches, or I don't know, the roof, the ceiling, but the end caps here, those beams are 2x4s on its side. They don't come all the way out. So I have no way to really attach insulation to those. I guess this is just how sheds are built. I don't know why. So I figured you could actually see I started my little plan here. I put up these little step-offs up here, and what I'll do is I'll cut 2x4s and mimic the exact sizes and lay them up. That way they'll be perfectly flush. Fucking ants, man. I got all these little ants in here. I can't wait to get this place done so I can get it under control. And then I'll put 2x4s up there. That way it's perfectly flush with this. And then that way I can put insulation in, and then two, when I go to drywall, it'll look that much nicer. So yeah, that's where we're at right now. After this, it's twofold, man. Power, I still haven't hooked that on. The power, the box is back on there. It's still running off extension cords. I'm not too worried about that. It's all running. I just got to hook it up, and I have all the pieces. It's just after finishing installation, it's a two combo thing. It's drywall, and it's also staining, because I want to stain these tables a dark walnut. I want to stain these 2x4s dark walnut. I want to stain, I'm adding 1x4s or 1x6s to these on each side, staining them, make them look like cross beams, so I can add, so they look nice, and I can add lighting to them. So I got to stain those. So I got a bunch of staining to do, and drywalling. But once that's done, man, and once I get the drywalling done and the staining done, and electrical hooked up, like I said, that's not a big deal. It's just got to be hooked up, cooking. Now I could start doing like the fun stuff, the painting, and what I mean, hitting everything right and making it look like what I want it to look like. So yeah, that's where we're at. In a little build here, still chugging along. Really, I mean, any spare minute I can get that I'm not hanging out with my kiddo and the wife, pretty much hanging out in there doing stuff. The bummer about insulation, I don't know if any of you have ever done insulation before, but it sucks, especially fiberglass. And for those who are like actually know about such things and go, hey, wait a minute, bud, you had a R14 or R13 insulation in both your walls, which is fine, but you're also your ceiling. I didn't know what to do with my ceiling, honestly. It's 2x4s. There's no way. I mean, for those that don't know, insulation, fiberglass, since all our insulation is R-rated, which is like, radiant rated, and the higher the number, then the better insulation it is. But more often than not, better insulation is mad thick. Like R39 is like this thick. R13 is like that thick. That's all I could really fit up there. The only other option I had was spray foam. And Daddy ain't rich, so we're just doing what we can fit in there, and I'm fine with that. I'm not trying to make the place like super cold on a hot day. I'm just trying to make it tolerable, so it should be fine. But it's been a really cool journey, just working in there and beating the crap out of myself. Like, everything hurts. My fingers hurt, my knuckles hurt, everything hurts, and I dig it, man. I dig it a lot, and I'm really pumped to get out there and just make it a space. And I'm really fine, and like starting to kind of daydream of how it's going to look, and it'll be cool to show y'all when it's done. So I got a little update on the old Massif Homebase. So yeah, hopefully you guys are enjoying these little updates, and hopefully looking forward to the final build. And yeah, once it's done, we'll be shooting and going crazy in there. So hope to see you next time. Cheers, y'all.